Okay, we're live.
Other children's parents, I think.
We're live. We're live. Okay. We are live and we've got our technical problems worked out. So we're going to open up the meeting saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty for all.
There we go. All right, it's good to see people here. This is our first meeting and we've had an audience and I appreciate that. We're getting through this thing and a lot of the restrictions, virtually all the restrictions have been dropped. And so it's good to have folks back in their chambers again. This is kind of odd. I got used to sitting over there and I got used to sitting over here. It's hard. Official. Okay, so welcome to the June 2nd meeting of Calvert City Council. And June 14th, excuse me, I'm looking the wrong one. June 14th meeting. And first order of business would be approval for the meeting minutes of June the 2nd, the special call council meeting. Motion approved. Motion. Second. And a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Okay, Ms. Blair, I understand we have the winner for May 2021 writing contest.
We sure do. She is not going to be on the call today. I don't know if you guys have had the chance to read her poem, but it is a really, really awesome piece. And sorry, I'm trying to get it pulled up. So our June winner, her name is Zyla Dortch. And she she just graduated this year from Paducah Tillman High School. She enjoys writing, singing, baking, reading, volunteering, and activism. And her favorite class is composition language arts. And her favorite teacher was Mr. King. Anyway, she is our June winner, Zyla Dortch, and super excited to have her as a winner and someone from Paducah Tillman High School winning. That's a first.
All right, well, thank you, Blair. Anybody got any comments on that? All right, excited to keep up our support of the writing contest. So moving to old business, we've got some business to take care of to get our house in order. And we've done quite a bit of work on this already. So we're ready to consider the second reading of an ordinance, which is the amending of the budget. Okay.
I know, I wish we'd turn that down.
If you turn it down, you're not gonna hear
Okay. I'll just
it. You
stay,
might want to mute.
I'll kind of stay back
We
away.
might be turning our mics off.
I'm gonna
When
turn
you're
it
not
off.
talking, turn your mic
I'm gonna
off.
turn this one off. That may do a lot of good.
Oh, because we're.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're
that's
close. I
fine.
turned mine off too.
That's already better.
Okay.
Actually, it does.
I thought I would go over, last time we had a few things we needed to look at. So I had changed a few things on the amended budget ordinance and the budget ordinance. So I wanted to make you aware of all the changes. I printed this out, those first 2 pages from the actual budget. But I think we'll just follow along on the ordinance. That would probably be the easiest way to do it. So if you'll look at ordinance 2021-03, because that is the amended budget ordinance, and we'll talk about the changes there first. I'll write them on there for you. That's okay.
Okay, you got it? All right.
So, we talked about that 550,000 with the T hangers. So I did call David Hampton with Kemper's CPA, the ones that do our audit. And he did say that if it was at least 95% complete this year, that we did need to show that expense in this year. You know how we went kind of back and forth with that at our last meeting. So I asked him where I needed to put it. He said I could put it in capital projects or I could put it in the general fund, but I just needed to show it somewhere. So I chose the general fund. I just kind of thought that would be my easiest way to put it in here. So if you'll look down at airport, under the general fund, under the estimated appropriations, our original budget was 131,000, and we had that we were going to end up at 118,000. So that's what would be in your budget. I mean, your ordinance that you had last time. So I've added that 550,000 to that. So now it is at 668,000. Okay. So then you go down, and so our total estimated appropriations were 4,223,000, and they're now 4,773,000. So then the next line, our excessive revenues over under appropriations, well, they were going to be 633,700. Now they're 83,700. So then the transfer in or out.
That figure on before, it's got 916,000.
No, that was our original budget. That's
Okay.
the original
Okay.
budget. The only numbers I changed were in the ones next to
Okay.
it. Okay.
Yeah, we're actually finishing.
The numbers of what
Okay.
we feel like we're gonna end up at.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a good guess.
Okay, I got you.
The transfer in and out, you know, we were gonna be able to transfer 1,111,516 into the capital projects. But now it's gonna be 561,516.
Essentially, we're paying for it this year because it's,
Correct.
so then, but that's fine because it falls off of the
It
project
does.
list for next year.
Right. Then the net change in the fund balance, it was gonna be 1,027,816. Now it's gonna be, change is gonna be a negative 477,816. And then to bring us down to our 6 million, because that's what we always end at. Okay, so if you'll look over then in the capital projects fund, in that transfers in and out. So all we'll be transferring would be the 386,516. Okay. So, that is the 561,516 less that 175,000 that we got transferred to water. So that doesn't go into capital projects, that was transferred into water. So I have to subtract that out of that number. Okay, so that's gonna make the bottom number that's actually gonna be our beginning number in capital projects. It's gonna make it go from where it was gonna be 2,125,409. Now we're gonna be starting out with 1,575,409 for our beginning number on our budgeted number, okay? Now, one other thing that I changed, if you'll look in capital projects, up under other revenue, we're still on this amended budget. We had, our original budget was 850,000 for other revenue. That included 550,000 for the TAP grant fund and 300,000 that we were just thinking we'd get in grant money for the airport. Okay, in the original one, I had just put that 300 there. And then down in the airport on expenses, I had put 300 because we'd estimated 300 and we knew we had spent 300. I went back and looked at all of our numbers, which I mean, it was a wash. You know, because the state was reimbursing us for all of that. We actually had 1.673 million this year that the state, we would write the check out for those expenses, and then within 2 weeks, they would have it back in our account. So I added all those up. So I put it in, it's a wash. I showed it up here. It's gonna end up at 1.673.
Yeah.
That included some of the reimbursement they did for the fuel facility.
Yeah.
They did for the paving of the runway, and they also did for the T-hangers. So they've reimbursed a lot for us this year.
So that number was what again?
1.673 million. Yeah.
So that's a lot of pass through. And
It
when
is
you
a lot
drive,
of
when you drive
pass
through the airport area, it's immediately obvious, right?
I wanted to make you aware of all of that.
So those realizations came after a phone call and talking about where the 550 went. And it-
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But since the majority of the asset was this year, it's being put on this year's budget. And we had still made the decision that we were going to seek funding for that.
Correct.
But that hasn't changed. It just shifted the years.
And John will kind of report on that a little bit at some point. Or we don't.
Well, I need to meet with the mayor
Yeah.
and go over the
We don't really.
the options we got. and
We have
let
some
him
different
look at it.
options for funding, so.
But we do have, we already received some options back that I'll be sitting down with the mayor and whoever else at the time, then coming back into council for the final decision on that one, but we've got options. So we'll go 15, 20, and 25 years right now.
When we settle on that option, will we pay for the hangar, will we reimburse ourselves?
We'll reimburse ourselves
Into the
and
capital
then
fund?
then start the payout.
Yeah.
Over that time, and we can just, we'll budget the income with an amendment, and then the payout.
But to follow your reasoning, so there is in the budget a loan repayment estimate in the budget.
Yeah.
30, 40 something.
Yeah, it's
36.
36 is what we kind of John came up with.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
And for this year, that would be high, but next year, that would be pretty well in tune. That amount is gonna be pretty close. It'll fluctuate a little above, a little below throughout the life of the plant, but you know, now that's gonna be, that's a 20-year plan.
Okay, so do you want to go ahead and vote on that one, or do you want me to
we
go
gotta
ahead
read
and
it.
go over? them?
We've got to
Or
read
you
it.
have to read them? Okay, so do you want me to go ahead and talk about the other one, or how you
Well, I
want to
think
do it?
that what we normally do, we'll go ahead and read them
Okay.
and vote on them as we go. It's
That-
not the correct cadence
would
that we
be
normally do.
perfect.
Let's do that. So who wants to do the
That
pleasure?
would be Esquire.
You gonna
Can
put-
you hear me?
Can hear you.
All right. All right, this is an ordinance amending the 2020-2021 budget ordinance. Ordinance number 2020-05. Whereas the city council wishes to amend the 2021 budget to more accurately reflect anticipated revenues and expenditures for the fiscal year in order to document authorization for expenditures in excess of original budget appropriations and establish the availability of funds for transfer to the city's capital account. Now therefore be it ordained by the city of Calvert City, Commonwealth of Kentucky, that the 2021 budget ordinance number 2020-05 hereby is amended to reflect the foregoing modifications as follows. I'll do them by column. The estimated fund balance for June 30, 2020 in the general fund is $6,477,816. Property taxes received was $1,300,000. Payroll tax $1,400,000. Licenses and permits $850,000. Intergovernmental revenues 48.9. Fines and forfeits and 1,800. Charges for services, 109,000, other revenue, 147,000. Total estimated revenue is $4,856,700. Total resources available in the general fund is $11,334,516. For capital projects, the beginning balance June 30, 2020 was $2,571,893. Other revenue totaled $1,673,000. Total estimated revenue was $1,673,000, and the total resources available were $4,244,893,000. In special revenue fund, the beginning balance June 30, 2020 was $487,498. Intergovernmental revenues were $47,700. Other revenue was $146,000. Total estimated revenue being $193,700,000 for total resources available of $681,198. For estimated appropriations in the general fund, for general government, $1,250,000. Police, $1,020,000. Fire, $165,000. Street, $834,000. Sanitation, $315,000. Parks, $456,000. Airport, $668,000. Fire training center, $24,000. Cemetery, $41,000. Beautification, nothing. Total estimated appropriations, $4,773,000. That was in general fund. For capital projects fund, estimated appropriations General government was 453,000, police 26,000, fire 482,000, street 175,000, parks 247,000, airport 1,673,000, for total estimated appropriations of 3,056,000. And for special revenue fund, estimated appropriations for police was 128,000, for fire was 11,000, for total estimated appropriations of 139,000. Excess revenues over and under appropriations for the general fund was 83,700. For capital projects fund was a minus $1,383,000. And for special revenue fund, it was a positive 54,700,000. Transfers out for the general fund were $561,516. In for the capital projects fund was $386,516. The net change fund in the fund balance for the general fund was a negative $477,816. For the capital projects fund was a negative $996,484. And for the special revenue fund, a positive $54,700. Estimated fund balances as of June 30, 2021, $6 million in the general fund. In the capital projects fund, $1,575,409. And in special revenue fund, $542,198. For municipal water and sewer, estimated fund balance for June 30, 2020 was $900,000. Estimated revenues from operations was $2,037,000. Reimbursements was $2,604,250 for total estimated revenues of $4,641,250. Total resources available, $5,541,250. Estimated expenditures for operating is $1,622,350. Depreciation was $590,000. Capital and debt retirement was $3,065,100. Total estimated expenditures of $5,277,450. Excess of revenues under expenditures. For depreciate, Glenda, you're going to have to help me understand what I'm looking at here. Excess of revenues.
Over or under expenditures was the 636,200.
Okay, and depreciation was $590,000.
Right.
And then, so there was a net increase to the bank of $46,200. Estimated fund balance on June 30, 2021 then was $853,800. And that is the amendment.
Okay.
This was not actually amended here, was it? I mean, their budget's not actually.
Yeah, it didn't actually change.
Okay, so Linda made the explanation earlier, some of the changes in that, and we went through that. There were some actions and some questions. So I guess, are we ready to vote on this?
I made a motion.
Need a motion?
I'll make a motion
To
to
accept.
approve accept as presented.
I'll second. Oh, I wasn't on. I'll second.
Any discussion?
I think that 46,200 should have a negative or brackets in it.
I think it should too. And I saw that. I will get that.
Yeah, that's real.
I know it's red.
And you do the math between the red and the dark.
I will change that.
Okay. Motion is corrected. Would you amend your motion?
Make a motion to accept the budget as presented with the edits that Ralph mentioned.
Okay,
I second.
okay. Okay, we're gonna take a roll call.
Yes. Councilman Babcock,
Yes.
Councilman Hale,
Yes.
Councilman Howard,
Yes.
Councilman Rowell,
Yes.
Councilman Harrington is absent, and Councilman Stokes is absent.
All right, thank you for that. Moving on to the next one. Turn this on with the danger of maybe getting some feedback. This is the proposed ordinance establishing personnel and pay classification plan. And the next one up for consideration. And, need a motion to read it.
No.
No,
Not to read it. Do a motion to approve it, but not to read it.
okay.
So you ready to read it? Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, an ordinance adopting the city of Calvert City, Kentucky annual budget for fiscal year July 1, 2021 through June 30, 2022 by estimating revenues and resources and appropriating funds for the operation of city government. Whereas the City Council of the City of Calvert City, Kentucky has reviewed the budget proposal of the mayor and has developed a budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2021 and ending June 30, 2022 in anticipation of the financial needs of the city. And whereas the City Council of the City of Calvert City, Kentucky has reviewed and approved the proposed budget for the Board of Public Utilities for the city's municipal water and sewer system, now therefore be it ordained by the City of Calvert City, Commonwealth of Kentucky, that the annual budget for the city, including the city's municipal water and sewer system for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2021 and ending June 30, 2022, hereby is adopted as follows. For the general fund, estimated fund balances on June 30, 2021 is $6 million. Estimated revenues from
Greg, I'm sorry, we were doing the pay classification.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Or just read the summary.
Yeah.
Yep. The summary for the pay classification is pursuant to KRS 83A0702 and Calvert City Ordinance 3102 B and C. The City Council has adopted a personnel pay classification establishing compensation rates for the various classifications of employees of the city and non-elected city officers. The complete plan and ordinance adopting same is maintained by the city clerk at the City Hall located at 861 East 5th Avenue, Calvert City, Kentucky. That's it. Detail is not required.
Okay,
I have a question.
We had a motion first.
I make a motion, we accept it as presented.
second.
I'll second.
Okay.
And this is just for my understanding. The city attorneys that we paid $180 an hour. Did we take FICA out of that $180 an hour?
Oh, yes. Yes, you do.
But that seems like that's still his overhead and we're paying FICA on his office expenses. Right?
Not sure if I'm.
Like whenever he's working in his office.
The $180 an hour is based on the things in his office. The work is all, am I wrong on that end of it?
I'm listening.
No, I mean, tell me if I am.
I'm gonna be listening for answers to this too.
Okay. He's charging us $180 an hour. Some city attorneys may be charged 40 or 50, and then their office work, if they do research, the people in his actual law office, if they do research or type up something or work on the ordinance or something like that, considering that is his overhead.
Okay.
So it looks like right now we're paying $100 an hour, which includes Greg's. It is his hourly rate, but that hourly rate, if I understand it right, is both his salary and his office overhead.
Okay.
No, you only pay for my time, Nita. You don't pay for, there are no charges on the bill for anybody else's time.
So the $180, so the 180 an hour is actual pay for Rick's services.
That's actual time that I spend. There's no add-on for anything else. It's just time that I spend.
But theoretically, you don't type up every ordinance, right?
Oh, right, but you don't pay for the typing of the ordinances.
So to clarify, the 180 is down as earnings for Greg.
Right,
And you go directly and you report that earnings on your personal taxes.
right.
So you don't take it through the structure of the law firm.
Well, it is paid to the law firm, but I don't bill for anything other than my time.
So when we send you a check, you've got Social Security withholding, FICA and all that against that amount that you receive.
Right. Well, up to the maximum. I'm not sure what the maximum is, but yeah, and for as long as it applies.
So now, does Ms. Glenda, do you receive a monthly invoice with a breakdown of hours?
Yes, we did. And I'll prove them, yes. And it's everything. If he talked to any of us or,
Oh, I call him all the time.
What he charges.
Yes. I see everyone's name. We all use Greg.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm not
Well-
saying that, but I just, and I know we've always done it this way, and it may be my totally the way that I'm looking at it. It just seems like to me, I still think that should be some, I understand he in a sense is a city employee, but if you had a city engineer that was termed city engineer, would we be paying him the same way?
It would be dependent upon the relationship of that person. I mean, we obviously do employ technical assistance and it's invoiced to pay to firms. You know, for instance, Rivercrest is one that we do.
And I guess when, if you're paying it to his law firm and not to him personally.
Well, the check goes out to Greg Northcutt and it's.
Okay, I thought she just said we paid it, I thought he said we paid it to the law firm.
It comes to me, but I mean, I pay my law firm expenses out of it. But
It's
I
associated
just,
with your serial number, with your social, right? It's on
Yeah.
your social and it shows up as income.
shows up on my W-2.
It's a W-2 on that.
Yeah, and I'm understanding that. It just seems a lot to me to be paying FICA on that amount. It seems like it should be broken down because he can still say it's his hourly salary, and I realize that, but he's still paying for part of his law.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm understanding, but yeah, it's the way, it's the same way everybody pays their attorney. You just pay the attorney's time. For instance, when I do an ordinance, I dictate the ordinance and you pay me for my time to dictate the ordinance or to research whatever. But you don't pay for Deanne's time. If she types the ordinance up to send down or whatever she does, you don't pay for her time. You just pay for my time.
Okay, that's it.
It's, okay.
Yeah, it's, I mean, I don't particularly agree with it, but that's the way that we're doing it. That's good.
Well, we'll, you know, right now, that's the way we do it. The 180 an hour goes down as W2 earnings associated with social, and it goes through. And so you are correct. The FICA is going against the overall that he has to repay out of his personal pocket. Okay, all right. Any other questions on this pay classification? Okay, with that then, since discussion seems to wane, I'll take a motion to accept.
We'll call the roll. You've already got the motion to accept and a second.
I'm scared.
He's been reading Robert's Rule of Order, don't let him kid you.
Well, I need some help and I'm out of cadence in my brain.
Well, that's all right. You get a motion and accept.
We got a motion to accept. And we
Then you
had
can
a
just, then you can
conversation.
discuss it.
Yes, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And after I get done with discussion, then you can call the roll if there's no changes.
Call the roll.
Councilman Babcock,
So
Yes.
Councilman Howard,
Yes.
Councilman Hale,
Yes,
Councilman Rowell,
Yes.
Councilman Harrington is absent, and Councilman Stokes is absent. That passes. So now we're gonna look at 2021.
Okay, we're gonna read.
So this is the actual budget. And then, so, you know, from the amended budget, that changed our beginning numbers. Oh, I'm sorry.
Robert's Rules of Order. We're gonna discuss it.
no, she's not going into the order. She's actually describing the changes prior to, so I'm sure you're okay with that. It's just when you go to talk about after the reading and the final language. She's doing is just a preliminary, so yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so on the capital projects, you know, we did have the 2,125,409 is that beginning number that we thought we were going to end at. Now then, that has changed to 1,575,409.
again, reflecting less
the
550.
550.
Okay.
So then when you follow all the way down to the bottom, so the estimated fund balance then will end up at a negative 26,591 for the capital projects. And then there's one other change. You know, when I ran in there and made those changes the other night, I didn't put that 36,000 in the general government appropriations for that payment. So that number has changed. That 108,497 is different. It's 36,000 more
That's the payment on the anticipated.
that we're, anticipating on a payment. So then that would have changed the transfer in and out, or well, the excess. I didn't have the numbers in front of me.
So although we will end, we're projecting ending the capital project fund in negative this time next year, that will change to the good once we get this financing in order, right?
No.
I thought we were gonna pay ourselves back and put it back in.
Or are you gonna put it back in the capital
I don't-
capital projects, or are you gonna put it into the general fund?
I don't know.
That's the reason I say that, because it depends on where it's being tracked at.
Are we gonna go into next year with a negative capital budget? But we will have capital projects next year.
I hope we will.
That's a conversation for next year. I'm just saying, I'm just asking.
Well, to clarify what you're asking,
Where
so
will-
in the budget,
Move
the
that.
way that we moved the airport around, we were gonna pay the 550 out of capital projects. Okay? And we moved it over. Which reduced our capital project fund beginning balance. Okay? So the question was, when we do get a loan to fund these, where would that money go? And so we anticipated in this budget of the payment on it. So where was the 550 in this? Where does it return to?
Well, the 550,
If we
Where
receive,
the
a-
revenues of that 550
if we
go.
receive a loan, the 550's got to come back in somewhere.
right,
Would it go in where you took it out?
That's what I
um,
thought.
into the general fund. But then, you know, in the end, that will transfer to capital projects.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
totally fine. I just didn't, this
The
time next
transfer.
year. Yeah. This is, yeah.
That's a good question.
Well, David indicated it didn't really matter.
He did. Because it's one goes
I
to
just
the
think it
other
would
or
be
goes
easy
back.
to, I mean, if you took it out of that one, you put it back in there and then transfer it over, to me, it would be a little bit easier to track
And
it
it will.
for all of us lay people.
I kind of chose that way.
And understand, the capital improvement projects section is actually general funds that we
It's an
took
extension.
several years ago. We
Yeah.
locked it at 6 million. Ralph and I started this, and we moved anything over the 6 million into the capital project. That gives you something to do capital projects with, and yet it doesn't get into our reserve. That's what we're trying to do, is keep that reserve up.
That's not.
And traditionally,
Okay.
the city has always been very conservative on its revenues and liberal on expenses. And so we've usually will have a substantial, it'll vary, but a substantial transfer at the end of the year. Now, that's not always, it's not a given. But that's the traditional way things have happened. Right.
Are we gonna show the loan? I mean, the proceeds in this, you're not gonna show it until after
We get it.
we get it, or are we gonna be able to get the loan before
The end of
July the
this year,
1st?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either, because it'll be a bond.
Yeah, it'll be in there.
And we'll have another, there'll be some, probably with a bond, we may have, I don't know, possibly an ordinance or something that you guys would have to go through. So it won't be a real quick type. scenario, I don't think, so. And you'll get, I want to make sure that we get look at the way we're gonna go, and that way you can get the right numbers to look at and see what that is. But right now, the only ones that come back with anything is KLC, and their pool, their bond pool is where we're looking at this point. So,
I'm good with everything, just to be clear. I just didn't want it to seem like we're not gonna do any capital improvements next year.
well, I'm not so sure that we're gonna wind up spending all of that money, because the lead times we're looking at could put some of these into next year's budget
But what about the
before they
bridge?
get you.
About Kevin's bridge? What about the bridge? Is that
It's in there.
Kevin's Bridge
Kevin's?
is in.
Kevin and Chris's, but they were.
Actually, it's not,
Same-
it's not. I
same
mean, we told, and the council, you know, when we did the airport, we said the airport was gonna fend for itself. And if we had chosen not to pursue funding for the 550, we would have had to foregone extra stuff that needed attention.
Right.
And the council, you know, we discussed it, the council selected the bridge. What's that segment of highway officially called these days? Gilbertsville Highway.
Yeah.
That was gonna get the primary attention. So it is in here, and we are gonna generate the 550 loan, and it's gonna, the users of the airport are gonna go, and we're gonna be at 100% capacity. And it's gonna pay itself off, and that's what we'd intended to do from the start here. The airport board, we're getting funding turned back on. We just mentioned the magnum volume of pass-through that the state has supported us on, and so the financing of the hangar is gonna be part of that, and that's, you know, that's gonna still allow us to do much needed projects, and we've got bigger projects out there we talked about at the budget workshops, so.
What you just said there, it kind of makes sense then to have that payment, I think, come back into the general fund, because the monthly payment's gonna come out of the general fund right there with the revenue from the hangars themselves, and then match up for us to look at over time.
So-
It makes sense to
And
do.
that
So
will
then-
actually be, I'm sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say, so then potentially this general fund ending balance will go up when we get that back.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
It is not in there
And then anything in excess of 6 will
now. It's
roll.
not, I mean, we haven't done it.
Yeah,
We don't have,
totally, yeah. Very.
something could come up.
And I am going to set up another account, a bank account, and for just the airport. Because I feel like that money needs to be kept separate, especially with this, if we do the loan, and
State things.
right now it's just net going in with the general fund, but I think it should be separate. And then also I'm gonna set one up for the American Rescue Plan money, because I feel like it needs to be totally separate.
Absolutely.
So those are some changes I'm making.
So, you know, those things are the evolution of government. You know, we've had new categories that are added this year we hadn't had before, and new needs. So that's just good evolution, if you will. Okay. All right.
I think Greg needs to read it.
Ready? Yep. You ready?
Yep.
Okay. I'll read that introduction again. Whereas the City Council for the City of Calvert, City, Kentucky has reviewed the budget proposal of the mayor and has developed a budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2021 and ending June 30, 2022 in anticipation of the financial needs of the city. And whereas the City Council of the City of Calvert, City, Kentucky has reviewed and approved the proposed budget of the Board of Public Utilities for the city's municipal water and sewer system, now therefore be it ordained by the City of Calvert City, Commonwealth of Kentucky, that the annual budget for the city, including the city's municipal water and sewer system for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2021 and ending June 30, 2022 hereby is adopted as follows. Okay, for the general fund, the estimated fund balances June 30, 2021 are $6 million. Estimated revenues from property taxes, $1,088,000. Payroll tax, $1,400,000. Licenses and permits, $1,320,000. Intergovernmental revenues, $45,050. Fines and forfeits, $1,000. Charges for services, $108,000. Other revenue, $380,600. Total estimated revenue of $4,342,650. Capital projects begin June 30, 2021 at $1,575,409. and total resources available are $1,575,409. Special revenue funds begin June 30, 2021 at $542,198. Add intergovernmental revenues of $50,350,000. Other revenue, $350, $50,350. Other revenue of $126,000. Total estimated revenue of $176,350 for total resources available in the general fund of $10,342,650. Capital projects, $1,575,400, and special revenue funds of $718,548. Estimated appropriations for general government is $1,084,797. For the police is $1,045,578. For fire, it's $157,600. Street, $898,035. Sanitation, $328,450. Economic development, $331,000. Parks at $526,50. Airport is $80,000. Fire training center is $80,000. Cemetery is $30,000. For total estimated appropriations in the general fund of $4,561,510. For capital projects, we've got police of $27,000, street of $1,350,000, economic, is that right? No, I'm sorry, sanitation of $25,000, economic development of $100,000, parks of $100,000. Total estimated appropriations is $1,602,000. Excess of, sorry, let's stop right there. Then for special revenue funds for the police is $179,573. For the fire, it's $11,000. For total estimated appropriations of $190,573. So we've got excess or under appropriations in the general fund of $218,860 for transfers out of $60,000. Net change in the fund balance is $278,860. That's in the general fund. Capital projects under appropriations of $1,602,000 for net change in the fund balance of $1,602,000. In special revenue funds, we've got under appropriations of $14,223 for a net change in the fund balance of $14,223. Estimated fund balances on June 30, 2022 for the general fund is $5,721,140. Estimated fund balance in capital projects is a negative $26,591. And for special revenue funds, it's $527,976. Now for municipal water and sewer, the estimated fund balances for June 30, 2021 is $900,000. Estimated revenues from operations are $2,210,528. Reimbursements are $60,000. Total estimated revenues of $2,270,528 for total resources available of $3,170,528. Estimated expenditures for operating funds is $1,447,600. For depreciation, it's $590,000. Capital debt and debt retirement is $4,589,436. For total estimated expenditures of $6,627,036. Excess revenues under expenditures is $4,356,508. Depreciation is $590,000. Influent lift station loan approved is $2,908,500 for a net decrease to the bank of $858,008. Estimated fund balance June 30, 2022 of $41,992. That's it.
Call roll.
No, I need a motion.
Need a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion that we accept as presented. That's it.
Councilman Stokes is absent, Councilman Harrington's absent, Councilman Ralph,
Yes.
Councilman Hale,
Yes.
Councilman Howard,
Yes.
Councilman Babcock.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much for the budget work. Okay, moving on to new business. consider an amendment or
Oh, okay, good enough.
Oh, what, we're asking, Brad and I are asking to make a change. The items on this list that you see here for the written determination are items that have been previously approved, and it so states in the first paragraph on the front that we approved it to go off by, sell by gov deals to begin with. But this is scrap metal, and I think we're gonna be better served by just going ahead and making, seeking prices through the local recyclers who will actually give us a better price, because it's not gonna be worth anything but scrap. And so we're asking for that change. And so basically, Greg, you want me to just go ahead and read that?
It doesn't have to be read out loud.
Okay,
It just has to be approved.
yeah, so that's what we're asking, is that we can proceed, instead of going through grub deals with these items, we go through seeking prices from local recyclers for this.
so this decision was made. this
Back in
week?
January of last year,
Okay,
originally.
so this is basically a scrap pile.
That's it. All this is just scrap metal. If you look on here, it's all corrugated metal that had been used, and pulled up. It's various lengths of electrical wire that was scrap left over, metal culverts. Just, it may be just some old frames or something like that, and even an old used HVAC unit, so.
You just need a motion to approve.
Yes,
that.
ma'am.
I make a motion to approve the amended written determination regarding disposition of property.
I'll second that.
All in favor say aye.
Um,
Motion carried unanimously. Okay. Other business. Blair, do you hear us? Marketing Director's report.
I do. I'm gonna come in there.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna do some Star Trek stuff here. She's just gonna appear.
Talk to you guys. Oh, I know. Okay, so, first thing, the Sesquicentennial Ball. If you have tickets that you didn't use when I handed them out, put them in the envelope, I need to get those back so I can make sure and get those sold and given to people that want to go. We had 8 people nominate citizens for the ball to be recognized. So 8 citizens were nominated, and we had 7 businesses that were nominated. I don't have to be on there. Are you gonna stand up because I can't see your face?
Yes, they can. Yes, they can, miss.
It's still, I still can't see me.
It's still
Literally.
cutting your
It's
eyes.
still cutting me off. I'm gonna have to go up there.
All right, never mind.
Anyway, so that, I think that's a good thing, and the people that were nominated were really good people that, you know, really do make a difference in the city. And then people have been asking about the attire, and literally it goes from one extreme to the other. So you can do business casual, you can do church clothes, you can do the 1800s style. I was telling Nita, I got my dress in, put it on. I was like, "Here, Garrett, what do you think?" He said, "You look like very Amish looking." So it's very primitive. I'm going with the primitive look, and so you can go that way. Or some people have shown me these ball gowns that they're with these big fancy hats that they're doing. So it's going to be a really interesting group of people, and I'm excited. I can't wait to see it. So if anybody asks, it's really, we're not being very picky about it. You know, if you want to wear 18s primitive, or if you want to wear 1800s Victorians, more than welcome to do either. Let's see, I already have the tickets. I think we're pretty much sold out of tickets, but I'll know on the 18th when I get back RSVPs who will be able to come and not come. And so some tickets may open up at that point. I sent the schedule out for volunteers, and thank you all for volunteering. Pretty much everything is filled up, and that is amazing, because I was a little worried for a little bit, but if you couldn't tell by my desperation emails. But anyway, it turned out great, and I think it's gonna be a really great event, all the volunteers and the events, and they're all kind of coming together, and we've even got several fiddle contestants signed up, basketball tournament signed up, so that's good. And let's see, what else do I got on here? Oh, the parade. I would love to see the council be in the parade.
I'm in there.
Yeah, Tanera is going above and beyond and is gonna be on stilts. Cannot wait to see that. Cannot wait to see that. It's gonna be awesome.
I'll likely be in a beauty pageant.
Oh, you're gonna be driving a car.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've got 2 girls in it this year.
Oh, okay, there you go. Well, strap on a city council
Yeah.
sign too. And you guys don't have to be together, but if you wanna take a golf cart and just put like a sign on the side of your car, the lineup starts at 4:45. The parade starts at 6. So as long as you're there by, 5 o'clock, 5:15, and get in the line, it would be nice to have everybody in there. I think that Jean is going to be driving Doc Colburn. So that will be a fun pair group there. Yeah.
If anybody would like to walk on stilts,
This
I'm
year
welcome
or
up
not?
there.
Isn't that you guys? Who make that rule?
Do I?
What?
I don't know, I'm just asking.
What's the?
What was it?
No, they haven't been in
What?
What?
horses.
No.
Okay.
No,
horses.
no horses.
No large animals.
Okay, Greg, we're out.
Obviously, you've never been to Tiger
No, I have not.
I mean, I grew up riding horses in the parade, so.
We love
I
horses,
get
but
it.
it's not hot weather
Not
horses.
July. Not
Um,
with barefoot people.
anyway, so think about that. I know I'd love to see you guys there, representing yourself and kind of the council. Kata's gonna try and do something too and be a part of the parade as well. And I don't have anything else. Oh, on the table, gave everyone one poster. If you could just either take it to work with you and put it up, or find one business that will put it up. That would be great. And Chris has big stack over there, so you can take an extra one if you know of a couple places, but Chris was gonna take some to the union halls and get those out. So anyway, there's a stack over there. Please, please, please help us get these out to the businesses. So that's all I have. Does anybody have any questions? Or have had any questions?
You've just done a rising job, Blair.
Well, I will say too, that if somebody asks, how do I register for this? 150calvertcity.com, at the top, click events, and then just scroll down. And each event has its own little category where you can download the registration form, or click it to view the flyer on there. So if anybody does ask, just send them to that website and tell them to click events at the top, and it should come up. So.
Do you understand this little fun you make on Facebook? I was gonna say, I saw it on Facebook where you could respond to somebody and I liked on it real quick.
Yes, there's an event page for the Sesquicentennial Ball, but there's also an event for the 3-on-3 basketball tournament, the Fiddlers Contest, every single one of them as an event. So it's kind of confusing because they're all one event, but it was almost too much to put in just one event.
Like this one, it says 150 Calvert City.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll do it. I'll do it. Anything else? I tell you what, these two back here and John have been a huge help because their guys are gonna help big time, and I can't be thankful enough because John and Brad help me think of things that I didn't think of, so. We're all together on this. We're all together in this.
Teamwork makes
She's
the
doing a
dream
damn good job.
Well-
Blair's doing a lot of heavy lifting here and
Yes, she is.
I don't think anybody should ask anything extra of her at least until July 5th. I don't know what your stress level's gonna do on Monday after this.
I'd make it like the 15th.
Yeah, she's doing a great job.
I'm trying to see if she'll get a vacation the week after. So get some relaxation time.
All right.
Good job.
And food truck Friday.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
Food Truck Friday.
It's got nice, we got to go.
Food Truck Friday. Often pulled, often copied.
Yeah,
We'll just stop
very
there.
often, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Blair, if you can hear me from wherever you just morphed off into. Okay, with that said, we're ready for a projects report. John's gonna take us to the projects report.
Okay. Of course, fountain, splash pad is operational now. We've got all the leaks in it fixed and gone through our annual, get it ready for Memorial Day set up. So it's good to go and operational. We're back into mowing.
Tested it Sunday.
Hmm.
Tested the splash party Sunday.
Did you?
Yeah, yeah.
Did it work out for
It
you?
worked out good.
Outstanding. The guys that they worked hard. I mean, they have to actually get down into and pull all the old caulk out of the cracks around those heads and reseal that. So it's time consuming, but they got it done. Right now, we're trying to get caught up. I'm taking up on yours, but mostly what we're doing right now is trying to get caught up on mowing and stuff like that. We've actually added a new employee. Austin left us about a month and a half ago, and we brought on Justin Havey. He's a Calvert City resident. He's now working for us in sanitation. So you'll see him out there with Ronnie and with Mitch. And Billy has moved over to the park department. So I'm doing a fine job there. So the guys, I can't speak highly enough of the work that they do. And so right now we're just, like I said, he's trying to get caught up on a lot of stuff. And we've actually just brought on, today, we brought on our new front office lady, and Allison McQuigg is our new lady at the front desk. She started today. So the projects I'm thinking about, we've got for the fire training center, we've added the Christmas tree prop. And we've also, we're working on, what's the other one we're working on right now? Cemetery, yeah. We've got the concrete finish for the entrance to the columbarium. And so those are basically that, and we've ordered a lot of stuff that we've ordered is not coming in until next year. Everything we ordered in April is due late July or August, mid-August, so.
Next budget year, not next.
Yes,
year.
ma'am. Yeah, all that's gonna fall into that. So, but, the airport, and I'm not gonna get too deep into that because Tim's here. But I will say that, we're gonna have the walkthrough, the final walkthrough Wednesday. Is that 11 or 9?
Yes.
Somewhere, okay. It's that morning. I don't have it in front of me, but the walkthrough will be there. The metal has come in. The last of the metal has come in. We were waiting for it to come in. It was due in last Monday. So after they got the metal on, then they could complete the final hookups to the electrical. That was the holdup on that. That's other than just whatever points of concern that they may have to deal with. That's pretty much the end of the hangar. And so we should be ready, unless something comes up in this walkthrough that we haven't seen, we should be ready to probably move forward as of July 1. So we're working with the airport board currently to work on the lease terms to get that together to bring to you guys. Move that forward as well. So. And that's about it.
So I think playground equipment is in the back order stuff.
It will be here in August. It's correct. Okay. But we still, with this today, we can actually order the 2 to 5 year old that we have. And with that 2 to 5 year old, we get because we're ordering by the end of the month, we're not going to get it until August or September. So it's not going to come out of this year's budget, come out of next year, but we get the discount by ordering it now. And we also get free shipping by ordering it now. So we'll get all the advantages of it, but we just won't see it until late fall or fall.
And they're doing the setup as well, aren't they?
Yes, they'll be doing the setup on both pieces of equipment. So we're not doing that. That's included in the monies that we appropriated. Yes, ma'am.
I just wonder if that would delay it any, you think,
What's that?
just setup. Them doing the setup.
I think the setup will come pretty quick. Yeah, they're pretty good. As soon as they get it in, they seem to get on that, so. We ordered the benches for the columbarium. Again, those are delivery date of August. The bicycle racks for, now, those are being taken out of this year's budget. Those were pre-built. The bicycle racks for the park and the two tables that are going in behind the civic center. We've got two tables going in there. So there's like a break area there in that patio on the backside.
Busy, busy. Anybody have any questions about projects around town or anything? Okay. That completes other business, except I got some more
Airport board.
airport board. It does not complete.
Well, airport.
I just go right by, Mr. And I'm not hitting on all cylinders tonight. I apologize. I'm not used to this chair and
It's gotta
drove my
turn
meetings
around.
up to almost being late for this meeting. So come on up and give us a good,
May I do it from here?
you can.
I have never been accused of talking quiet.
Okay. I believe we can hear you.
If you can't hear me, maybe you ought to have your ears shut, but before I say what little I have to say, I just want to tell you that the last time I was here was January of last year. And I spent quite a bit of time at the airport looking at various things. And when I drove to the airport today, I was stunned. It is a different place. I can't express my appreciation for the work that you have done. Yes, it was not all your money, but it was all your efforts. And it reflects what I see around this community and how appreciative I am of that. And I just wanted to let you know, you guys have done a terrific job. And I just, the combination of the fence, the terminal building and the fuel farm with the hangars in the background, it's just a transformation of a facility that only those of us with strong imaginations could have imagined. So, thank you. Thank you very much.
So thank you for the kind words.
The only thing I have to report is that we remain on track for the federal fiscal year 21 and 22 projects that amount to $300,000. Those are the airport layout plan, the clearing of the final stage and the clearing of the approaches, and the preparation of the bid package for the fence. The airport layout plan will be paid within that FAA budget, FAA grant in total, as will the clearing, the final stage and the clearing of the approaches. The fence bid package will be paid by the federal grant, but we anticipate state funding of the fence during fiscal year 22. So we're on track. We're basically on track because the FAA a month ago accepted our grant application, but they have not formally distributed the money, and until they do, anything can happen. But we remain on track, and they remain identifying this airport to receive the $300,000, $150 for each year. Now, the further good news is that both of those years, the projects are 100% funded by federal money, where traditionally those entitlement monies are only to pay for 90% of the cost of a project. So the good news is there will be no local money and it will be more than $300,000 because they pay 100% rather than the 90. So it comes out to 160 some thousand dollars a year rather than 150. So there's a little bit more, we can be a little bit more ambitious with our projects on that count. I have been told that the final invoice for the fuel system has been submitted. It's waiting approval. When it gets approved, it'll be paid by the state, and that project will be closed out and completely out of your hair, except for the administration of the fuel system. So good luck with that. That's all I have. And it's just a pleasure to be back and have some sort of normalcy. Although this really isn't a good place to come for normalcy, but it's fun to be here. Thank you.
I have a question for you. At what point is it likely that the instrument approach will be usable, published, and actually used? I mean, it's just a guideline. Is that a bad question?
Well, no, the question is very appropriate. You will not like my answer.
Okay.
I promise you that. Federal government is currently 3.2 years behind
And publishing it.
in publishing after they receive an application. They have checked, during COVID, they changed the rules of completing an application for a new instrument approach. You now have to certify that the approach is clear. We can't do that until we get the federal grant to complete the clearing project. And only then can we certify that the approach is clear. Therefore, we have to wait until the cutting season opens up for us. If you remember, there's a very narrow
4 to 6 weeks.
it's 46-week time period between the middle of October and the end of November.
That's right.
Because of the 3 endangered species that we are endangering by that clearance. So once we get the final stage of the approach cleared, we will submit the application. Then we'll wait 3.5 years until
2025.
You're right. I don't like the answer. I shouldn't have asked the question. I'm sorry.
2025.
But if we don't start now, it's that much further out.
Right.
Well, it just seems that every month they get a month behind.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, okay.
it's,
It is what it is, out of your
Yeah, it
hands.
is
I
what it
understand. I
is.
appreciate the knowledge and the expertise and understanding that and explaining it. So,
The honesty.
and it's difficult. It's impossible to explain. So thank you for hearing it and not throwing rocks at me.
okay.
We might want to be remiss if we didn't thank or make mention of Kentucky Aviation, part of the division of the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, for all of the work that they've done and help that they have provided us, funding and all otherwise, to get this, that help make this come to fruition as well. So Kentucky Division of Aviation is someone we owe a lot of thanks to
So that's
as well.
I agree.
better than full support. I mean, enthusiastic support, but it's
Exactly.
When they pay their bills in 2 weeks, that's unheard of in state government.
Oh, I know. I know.
I have Jake.
Yeah, Jack, she's got a Jack. And he's not from State Farm.
No, but I'm telling you, he's awesome.
Perfect.
You know,
Thank you.
it's
Well, thank you.
excellent, excellent folks.
I keep the pizza. Doing the commercial. Or to keep all in the states. up
It's
for
all
it.
stakes up on top of it.
Thank you for that deal, Jake.
Okay. Well, since I've tried to skip past Hanson to go to other business. And appreciate your kind words on the airport. So you really hadn't seen it till
I had not
today?
until today.
All right. So Brad and company and everyone involved, but great praises. Thank you very much. Okay, so I've got some board appointments to make. And the procedure for doing this, do we usually do it one at a time, one board at a time, or more than one board at a time?
One board at a time.
One board at a time. Okay, so for the Board of Zoning and Adjustments, we've got 2 members who expired in January 21. Mr. Andy Lyles, Secretary, and Mr. Darren Seals. I'd like to appoint both of those guys back to the Board of Zoning and Adjustments. Reappointment. Okay.
You're doing one at a time.
Yep.
Okay, I'll make a motion, we approve those 2 appointments, reappointments. Of Darren Seals and Andy Lyles.
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We don't need a roll call on that, do we?
No.
Okay. Mr. Gary Traylor on the Planning Commission, expired 10 January 21. And I would like to reappoint him to the Planning Commission.
I make a motion to reappoint Gary Trailer to the planning commission.
Second.
And I got one more to make.
You want to take a vote on that?
Oh, yeah, we need to take a vote. Got a first and a second, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I really apologize, my head's somewhere else tonight. On the Public Utilities Board, I'd like to appoint Mr. Michael Ford, who has not been on the board before. He is a customer of Calvert City Water. And he's been a member of the community for a while, although he's not a in the city limits type person. So I'd like to appoint Mr. Ford to the Water Board, and that leaves one more appointment open.
Make a motion to approve Michael Ford.
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. And there's more work to do on some board appointments. Okay. All right. Has anybody got, before I go around and ask, have we got any other business to discuss? Any other business? Okay, so I'll go around as typically we do and ask each of the council members if anything's on their mind that they'd like to discuss. And I'll start out with Nita.
On your appointments, have you decided anything on the airport board yet?
No, I have not.
Okay.
I have not. Got your name of a suggestion and a couple others I need to call and talk to.
Yeah, and I'm not pushing for him.
No, I
You know,
understand.
I just wondered.
Okay. But no,
That's
no.
all, I'm good.
All right, that's it. That's easy then. Go around that.
I'm all set.
You're all set. Jeremy's not going to. Brown?
Had we decided on a dedication or something, just think about the airport, what you said about the Department of Aviation? and all that,
Not a date yet.
we're going to-
Yes, I think it's a significant milestone. I think that will have the effect that we had on our visitor here. And I believe we should throw a pretty big recognition of ribbon cutting, if you will, and even to the point of getting state officials from the transportation cabinet, especially in here, and see what else, who other dignitaries we could have. 'Cause I think it is a pretty big deal. And the state has given us great support in the whole affair. And then as we move on up in the FAA ranks, we've made some preliminary contacts with Comer's office. I think he's going to be open. So we need to finalize that and have an event, if you will. So
Yeah, let's get Fort Campbell to do some nice flyovers. They're always using our.
I'm not
airport.
sure they do that anymore. And the only reason are the parachutes. I don't think they do. Because I think Blair and they were gonna try to get them for,
They don't have a team anymore.
they don't have the team anymore.
The Golden Knights have
Well,
retired.
we can show up, just happen to show up on that same night or day that we're doing the ribbon cutting.
It would be nice.
Well, that might be nice.
Mike could get him to do, as you said, a flyover. where
Yeah,
they
that might
actually
be
come in
nice,
with-
yeah.
Go by in a helicopter.
It's a good idea.
we'll make them aware of it. And they.
David may have some influence on that.
Well, since they do use it for training up there, some, don't they?
Yes,
They
yes,
do,
quite a
yeah,
lot.
Yeah, that would be good.
Quite a lot. A lot of copter
I was
action
just
in the
thinking
evening.
paratroopers.
And when we see them going by, we all leave our house and head up there.
Yeah,
3 weeks, Blair will have had a day off.
yeah. In 3 weeks, we'll have Blair upside as a crowd. I told Blair I was working for her for the next little bit after she needed anything, and she got me to volunteer for some time slots on the volunteer list, but she hasn't pressed it too much. Have we talked about the Tennessee Riverline event?
No,
I attended, Tennessee Riverline had an official kickoff at Knoxville. And they had the kayaks that you've seen in some of the local news. They had, I think, 60 or 80 of them present and had officials from TVA and UT at a riverfront park in Knoxville. I think it might be on River Mile 3. And I apologize, I can't remember the name of the park, but it's a beautiful place. And they've got a dock there. It's kind of like a sea-doo dock. And so one of the problems of teaching someone how to kayak is getting them in and out of the boat. Well, you just set in this thing and they drop you down the little ramp and you're in the water. So if you flip over, it's on you. It's not on the launching activity. So it was a pretty neat event to attend. And Paducah was there and we got to support them and several people from the Kentucky delegation. So we were there and interested to see how this affair is gonna develop. There was an article in the University of Tennessee's magazine publication that talked about the visioning process and how it got going. There's a link to it on the mayor's Facebook page. You can see and click over and it's a pretty interesting article. But I didn't know whether we'd mention that. I guess that was after the last council meeting. Didn't mention it through the budgeting processes, but that was after the last council meeting. So pretty exciting stuff there on the Tennessee Riverline and how our multi-use trails are going to fit into that vision. And we saw where Blair transported some kayakers across. I met the guy who did the entire 652 miles in the kayak. It was interesting. Yeah, pretty cool. So that's all I've got for now. Well, I forgot Tanera. I'm sorry. No, she mentioned you got more. You mentioned the helicopters possibly. And that's all you got?
I wanted to give you a hard time. I wanted you to feel bad for a minute.
Well, I do feel bad. I don't know. I'll get back together and do a more of the snuff job next time. That's all you
You're
got.
doing great. No,
Yeah, stop apologize. You're doing good.
something I forgot to say during the project is I want a shout out to the police department. David and his guys have been very helpful on the issue and a project that I've been working on, and they've done a great job of systeming with it. I want to make sure that I gave some credit out on that because they've done this has been a good, they've been able to pull up some good information for me. So I want to thank them for that.
One thing, the traffic light changed,
The 16th.
the 16th, Speedway and Love's out there. They'll be changing that. So that's pretty good too.
You heard that, Tim?
Yeah, we talked about
Oh, yeah,
that.
we've had that conversation.
Y'all
Yeah.
had some car accidents down there?
Now if you can remember when they put the traffic light at McDonald's, it was a big concern that we were gonna have a lot of issues there. And surprisingly enough, there wasn't a whole lot there.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll have the same effect down at the Speedway.
I don't think anything would make it worse.
Well, down there?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a stressful little spot, isn't it?
Don't be so cheerful.
I've always wanted to.
I have a question. I
Yes,
made a Facebook comment on the Tennessee line pictures.
Okay.
But I know that from time to time, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service gives grants for dogs. And, we may be at a point where we could kind of use that
Mhm.
to get us a dock down here.
That's a good
I
idea.
had Experience Landing,
That is a great idea.
where I learned how to swim.
Oh, and that is-
That or-
Learn how to swim at Haddock's Ferry.
At the old one. Where Haddock's Ferry is now was actually moved downstream. Because the road actually went through the middle of SKW or the Pittsburgh Metallurgical at the time.
Mhm.
And through some, whatever, they didn't want people going through the middle of their plant.
I understand, yeah.
And
I did that
so-
by accident one time. They weren't very happy.
If you really want to, they're not as bad about it now, but used to, if I wanted to stir anybody up, I would just drive down that road and go to the landing, Haddock's Ferry Landing, in my van with the light news on the side of it, and the radios would just go off like crazy, you can hear it on the scanner. But I don't think they're quite as bad about that now, but that is really a historic place. My mother was baptized down there. The churches here in Calvert City used to have baptisms on the banks of the Tennessee River that had its very land.
Wow.
And so
And that's where the Union Army come and conquered us too. They got off the steamboats down there one morning in July, come up through here. About 20 people died. Conflict.
Would we be able to, speaking of docks and stuff, if we did something like that, could we do anything like that in conjunction with the state park and get something up there like for the kayaks, or even to me, we just came back from Dandridge, Tennessee, and they've done a lot of work down there on the Douglas Lake, Douglas Dam area there. And they had like a more, for lack of a better word, like a boardwalk dock that came out, and then it walked out and then it enlarged and came out, and they had like Adirondack chairs and stuff bolted where they would couldn't be stolen, where you could just go out there and sit or have an activity or something like that. I just wish there was some way that, I mean, I know there's logistics in that, but if we could cooperate with the state some way to get things that draw families into Kentucky Dam Village, you know, like it sort of, you hate to say like it used to be, but
Right.
to get that place to capacity and things, they need to have things for people to do, and they don't.
Well, now's the time to do it, because since COVID, families are getting out. They're not all just packing up and going to Disney. They are getting out and doing more.
Where does the city land on financing amenities for the state park?
I think we can. so-
Well,
No.
it gets very difficult to do that. We don't,
I agree.
when you
but
get, when you get down into the elevation mark on the river, that's outside the city limits too. And then, you know, the state park is pretty adamant about controlling just about everything that happens on there, as you can expect the state to be. I mean, the journey on the airport's been extraordinary. We got a lot of cooperation from the Parks Department, and we're able to do this activity and get that pulled off. And I think we're the parks manager, Scott, you know, frequently comes to our meetings and actually sits on our airport board currently. And you know, we've got great rapport with them, but the funding for the state parks isn't the best in the world. So, you know, we've I know that there's been some discussions about, you know, doing some fishing venues and things like that, and it's pretty hard to move that rock around. But I would like to see some cooperation and some co-development on Calvert City's multi-purpose trails. And, you know, get more families from the state park here and let them advertise on that amenity here and maybe pull it through. But, you know, it's pretty tough to do that stuff. The dock at Haddock's Ferry and, you know, maybe one below the dam, the stuff below the dam would all be on state park or probably TVA, the way I understand it. It'd be, yeah, pretty tough to do that. Haddock's Ferry, I mean, I don't think the members of our community, Lloyd, really appreciate it. That's a nice place down there, just with the little gazebo, and they keep it in
That
really
is
decent shape.
That is the only public access to the Tennessee River between the Kentucky Dam and Paducah.
Mhm.
And of course, that's not public land. It's actually got a long-term lease of the county between, I believe.
Arkema donated.
They did donate. I thought that they had a long-term lease.
I don't know the logistic, but that.
I think Arkema, I think Arkema was a majority. I don't know if there's any from whatever CCMA was at the time or
Yeah.
not. But it's a county deal. But that, people now don't realize it, but we're a river community. That's how we developed. We weren't a railroad community for years after we were a river community.
Right.
And the reason that we developed as a little bitty dusty bird was because of Haddock's Ferry Landing and its direct route to Smithland. Now, if you go over there today, you can't imagine it, but Smithland was far larger than Paducah. It was the hub of commerce because it was at the confluence of the Cumberland River, and
Right.
And that is before the areas, the Tennessee is a bigger river, but the land upstream in Tennessee wasn't developed. There wasn't people living there. When it got developed, then the Tennessee, which had been a much larger, more navigable stream year round and everything, that's how Paducah overtook Smithland. And so, but in the early days, being able to get from here to Smithland was something that people needed and wanted. And it made Calvert City develop because we were on the first high ground up from the river.
Do you, but back to the state park, do you think that maybe after we get through with the sesquicentennial and things, that maybe we might arrange some kind of meeting?
I think we
with the
should,
parks and-
and I think that the participation of Calvert City in the Tennessee River Line, I think brings a very valid format for discussion. You know, the development of that 692-mile corridor where Paducah sits at River Zero, all the way up to where the rivers come together at Knoxville, which would be the Holston and, what to say,
French Broad.
French Broad. Yeah, it's come together at 692, and I hope I'm quoting the right mileage there. If not got anything else right tonight, so it's somewhere about right. But you know, that partnership there, I think, is one that we need to discuss with the park system overall, because they don't just have the Kentucky Dam Village, you've also got Ken Lake on that river trail, and then we have part of the thing is inclusion and having all people involved in this river, and part of the major legacy is Cherokee Parks on that too. So that's part of Ken Lake, and so that's all in that
Right.
discussion of
Yes.
how you can get the Kentucky State Park System, you know, a little piece of river line. And they're aware of us. They're aware of us in Frankfurt and our participation on this. I think that, you know, after we get in our city's history, after we get through some milestones there, I think it is appropriate to start talking that up and see what we can get going.
Well, I'll back up my comments after I've thought about it a little more. We can earmark dollars for the purposes of economic development.
Mhm.
And we've normally only talked about that in the sense of housing, but this I think would be kind of slammed up for that if we wanted to appropriate. some money.
Yeah. So with our strategic planning workshop, you know, we've talked about some things on, you know, the state of our housing in the city, the state of affordable housing in the city, the state of rental property in the city. So, you know, we get through here, third quarter, maybe have to go to fourth quarter, we got to start having some discussions about those important topics as well. And I'm envisioning maybe a workshop to talk about that some.
Awesome.
See some of the things we might want to do. And we budgeted money in this budget we just passed tonight. And thank you, council, for getting through this and a lot of good hours and hard work. And I think we've got a great budget to work forward on. We put some money in there for a full-time position that is yet undefined. And that's not going to just go without, we're not going to go hire somebody next week and say, hey, this is what you do. I mean, we're going to have to see how this is going to operate and how we can maximize value to the community. And looking forward to it. It's a pretty big deal when you pass your budget, and we're going to take a little breath and enjoy our 150th birthday, and then we're going to get to work. So with that, I take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All right, thank you.
I tell you, it's really something.